Hey, what's up, Garrett?
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Is this Michael?
yeah.
Sorry about that. The PR person gave me the conference number, but not the access code, so I had to get that real quick.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, uh, Cary should be dialing in a second, but we can go ahead and get started.
Okay. 2018 marks the 10th anniversary of Shovels and Rope. With the amount of shows and the endless miles that you guys have, partaken in since the beginning, what does that number 10 mean to you as performers and also people in the grand scheme of things?
Um, it's kind of gone by in a flash. Honestly, we've been, we don't get really a whole lot of time to sit back and reflect on anything because we're always on the road and there's always something coming up. So it kind of surprises me to hear that it's been that long.
Yeah, well, I mean, you look at the trajectory of what you guys have accomplished thus far, and it seems like just looking at the touring, like almost like a family circus cartoon, if you remember those.
Yeah.
Where it's just like this zigzag all around the country, but it's all organized chaos. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Oh, sorry about that. It sounded a little scratchy on this end, but can you be a troubadour in the 21st century? And is that role as important now as ever before, the songwriter?
Um, I think it's always important. I don't know if everybody thinks it's important, but I think that there are a lot of people who still connect with songs. Whether they have, whether they're rock and roll songs or whether they're, just a person and a guitar or a piano or whatever. I think that, songs. I mean, that's to me the most important thing about music is I want to hear what the person has to say. I want to hear somebody's story.
Well, I wonder too, is if that role is becoming once again just as important as it was maybe in the '60s and early '70s.
There's definitely a lot to talk about. I think that it's just that there's so much everything right now, though, that maybe it's different just because of everybody is constantly being inundated with everybody's opinion and everybody's got a platform, and but I feel like you still, if music speaks to you and if you connect with it, I think that it's very important nowadays, and I think that people should be people should be writing their most brave and bold songs right now.
Well, I feel too that there's a lot of artists, especially in the folk Americana and the indie scene, that I guess even in rock and roll too, where normally they might have subtle lyrics or subliminal messages or just kind of beating around the bush with an idea, but now it feels like they're coming more off the sidelines with very apparent meanings, blatant references rather than just kind of alluding to something.
Right. And I think that's a good thing. I mean, everybody writes songs in different ways. Some people are a little bit more abstract or use more metaphor, which is great too. But I think that if you have something to say, especially now, it's time to say it.
Well, I guess I asked that question because I was thinking about the song "Great America."
Right, Great America.
I was wondering about like the inspiration behind that. I mean, I would assume it probably you were referring to the Charleston shooter.
Referring to all the shooters.
All the shooters.
It's such a that song was written. We had just gotten back from a European tour, and we flipped on the news, and it was just like every terrible thing that you could imagine happening was just, they were just going down the list. And so, we've just sort of wrote down what they were, what we were hearing, and kind of in disbelief. And that's where that song came from. It was just, we had been away from the States for maybe like 2 weeks, and just, so much tragedy and, climate change, craziness, natural disasters. It was just like everything that you could think of.
Hey, it's Cary, and I walked in on that question. I've just been sitting here listening, and just wanted to say, yeah, like Michael and I, we're parents, and we're humans, and we're like part of the brotherhood of man, and it hurts our, spirit to see all the suffering in the world, and Great America is definitely like just our overall response to feeling overwhelmed about the state of the world.
Well, what's crazy with that oh, sorry, as you were saying.
No, please go ahead.
Well, I was saying what's crazy with that song title is that comma in that song title says everything.
Oh yeah, it's definitely all about the comma.
I mean, it just it's a whole different thing, and are you optimistic about the future?
I feel like we literally choose to remain optimistic because throwing up your hands in abandonment is not an option. It's just not an option. So while, like, on day to day, do you feel discouraged? Do you feel, that you're not getting far enough, fast enough for the good of mankind? But you have to always keep faith, and you always have to, like, put out the result, put out in your own efforts, what you want to see in other people. Somebody said it better than that, so like, be the change you want to see in the world. I mean, it's a bumper sticker, but it's true.
Yeah. Well, for me, when I see that lyric in that song, everyone's scared, everyone's inspired, I really think that sums it up, because as much as there's a lot of confusion, there's also a lot of people coming off the sidelines.
It's true. And I feel like us included, when you put something like that out in the world, you're not sure how everybody's going to respond. But we felt compelled to write it and felt compelled to put it out. And I don't know, maybe it will inspire somebody else to do something greater.
Yeah. Well, Cary Ann, I asked Michael earlier, this year marks the 10th anniversary of Shovels and Rope. I was curious about your thoughts on what that number means to you, 10, and in terms of your professional career, and also just the time that you've been endlessly on the road and touring and pushing Shovels and Rope into where it is today.
It definitely doesn't feel like 10 years have gone by, but it does feel like it kind of occurred to us recently that was the case. And, if you look at it in a capsule, our entire adult life together has taken place in the last 10 years. I mean, that record kind of marked the beginning of our romantic partnership and our musical and resultantly business partnership. And now we have, our families are one. We have a daughter. We are traveling, like everything about our production and our sound, and hopefully our songwriting has grown, in accordance with, time and wisdom and whatever. It's an awesome feeling to look back at what still feels like I don't feel like we're in the middle of our career, but I feel like if you've got 10 years behind you of a professional track record, it just kind of feels like you did good in your career, whatever it is. So that feels really good. And I don't know, I still like those songs too, and we still like to play them. So that's kind of cool, even though we, have, write all kinds of crazy different kind of stuff. Those songs still feel very much like us. which is a good feeling.